What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen. Get some.
Well, then I got out there now. I was in D.C. and I met this girl. My first girlfriend was a deaf girl. She went to Gallaudet University. It's a deaf college in D.C., man. It was great, man. It was the best relationship I had, man. No talking back. It was great. It was difficult, though, man, because, I met her at a nightclub and we was dancing the first time I met her, man. We danced about an hour. And she could dance, I didn't know she was deaf. We was dancing. I'm trying to talk to her. What's your name? Nothing. What's your name, girl? I'm talking, Gary. Nothing. Because he took me over to the bar and she wrote down deaf. I was like, well, how are you dancing? She wrote she can feel the music. I said, woo, I'm glad we ain't at no hip-hop club. Then they start scratching. She's stuck on the same dance move. Don't know what the hell's going on. She fell in love with me, man. She fell in love with me, man, And I liked her, but I didn't love her, And she used to always want me to tell her that I love her. She always asked me, Gary, tell me you love me. What? Tell me you love me. I'm like, if I used to say olive oil, it's like the same thing. She could only read lips. I'd be like, olive oil. Olive oil. I love you too, Gary. I love you too.
What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. You can listen to it on iTunes. Just search Gary Owen or hashtag Get Some, or search United We Cast, or watch it on YouTube. YouTube.com/Gary Owen.com. We got a busy show today. A lot happened this week. We got the Super Bowl participants. New England, big shock. And Philly, which really was a big shock. I was being sarcastic about New England because there's probably people listening right now that are like, what's he mean, big shock? Cavs are in a free-for-all. And then for my sake, as a comedian, Monique went on a rampage. I can't wait to get into that. But before that, February 2nd and the 3rd, I'm in Toledo at the Funny Bone. And then February 9th to the 11th, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. So you can get your ticket. I always tell everybody, the best way to get tickets for my shows is just go to my website, GaryOwen.com, and all the links come from right there. You can just one click and you can get your tickets. So Toledo, February 2nd and 3rd. Not doing February 4th. That's a Sunday. That's Superbowl Sunday. And it always amazes me when promoters try to, quote unquote, think outside the box, but not really, and try to do a show on Super Bowl Sunday. You're better off doing a show on Christmas than Super Bowl Sunday. Nobody's going to a comedy Super Bowl Sunday. I remember 98 or 99. Super Bowl was in San Diego, and I think Denver was playing Atlanta that year. Yeah, Denver and Atlanta. That's Super Bowl. And somebody had the brilliant idea of doing a comedy show called the Post-Super Bowl Comedy Jam. Man, I heard the turnout was like a JV girls soccer game. Nobody was there. To the point where one of the comedians walked in and said, where's my money? Like as soon as he got there, he didn't say hello to the promoter. He goes, where's my money? Because when he saw the number of empty seats, he was like, you better have my money. Because sometimes promoters in this business, when you have these fly-by-night promoters that aren't reputable, they're not Live Nation, they're not AEG, they're not a Brian Alden, who's a reputable promoter. You got these other promoters that when they put shows together, they might have everybody's deposits, but a lot of times they're banking on the door to pay everybody else and to make money. And you always got to tell people, man, when you're promoting, that money's gone. Like you got to have all your money up front. You got to have money for the venue, the promotion, and to pay all the comics in full. And then the night, that's all your money. That's the promoter's money. And hopefully you make enough that you win, and that's the goal. But don't ever, if any aspiring comics are out there, don't ever do a show Super Bowl Sunday. I don't care how much money they say you're going to make, because you ain't going to get it, because nobody's going to be there. talking about Monique, but like she was saying Chappelle and Rock. I bet you Chappelle and Rock ain't got no show Super Bowl Sunday. Well, Chris Rock's in Europe right now. He might have one. He might have one because he's in Europe. But in the States, nah, ain't nobody working Super Bowl Sunday. I don't care how big you are. No. That's a hard ticket to sell right there. You can't fight the biggest event. I mean, it's bigger than Christmas. It really is. Jewish people don't celebrate Christmas, and some other people don't. Everybody watches the Super Bowl. Even if you don't like football, you watch the Super Bowl. As far as the games go, it's crazy, man. New England went just how you thought it would go. I mean, as far as I did, I thought, okay, I either thought it was going to be a crazy blowout or Jacksonville was going to get the lead and then New England would come back in the end. And that's exactly, I mean, when it was 20-10 and it's in the fourth quarter and then Jacksonville stripped the ball and I think his name Miles Jack stripped the ball from New England's running back. And I was like, oh my God, they actually might win this. And then when Jacksonville went 3 and out and Brady got that ball back, I said, that's it. He got enough time for 2 possessions. That's it. I was looking at the clock. He had 2 possessions left where he could do a long drive. Because New England's not going to throw the bomb. They don't have deep threats. It's all underneath. It's all dink and dunks and hopefully somebody breaks something. But it went exactly like I thought. I was like, there's no way. Went down, scored a touchdown. Jacksonville gets the ball back, got a couple first downs, give the ball back to New England, and then they went down, scored another touchdown. And then Jacksonville had a nice little drive at the end, but they had to get a touchdown. Field goal wasn't going to do no good. And they couldn't pull it out. And there were some questionable calls. But when people say it's rigged and the refs are paid off, no, I think it goes back to the Jordan days. Jordan got all the calls, all of them, because he was the best. And I think in football, Tom Brady's the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan. And so, of course, he's going to get the close calls every time. I mean, it all started with the Raider game 15 years ago with the tuck rule. I was like, that's a fumble. No, the rules changed because of Tom Brady. That's when you know when the rules change. Because I even said, I never thought I'd say this, but Tom Brady is better than Joe Montana. I always thought Joe Montana was the greatest quarterback I'd ever seen. Like, you just knew he was going to win in the end. And I go, now I think it's Tom Brady. And then somebody did say, yeah, but Montana played in a day when, it wasn't two-hand touch. Guys were getting hit. I remember when Montana got knocked out of the game against the Giants. Oh, my God. I think it was Jim Burt came up and just crushed him. And I was like, oh, my God. I thought he was dead. And then the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl that year. But that was the first team that Giants defense, first team I seen like shut Montana down like that in the playoffs. But also the athletes are bigger, stronger, and faster nowadays too. And Brady's got it all figured out. I mean, this dude's 40. Come on. There's guys that played with Brady that are now coaching, and he's still playing. Like, not just first-year coach, multiple-year coaches. Now, the surprising game was Minnesota and Philly, because Minnesota went down the field like it was no problem. Whoop, scored 7 points and didn't score again the rest of the game. In Philly, that D-line was just in Case Keenum's butt. And here's what's crazy. I make a tweet, and I said, everybody keeps waiting for Case Keenum to regress, but he's just locked in. He's not going to regress. And I'm talking about as soon as I made the tweet, the next pass was intercepted and ran in for a touchdown. And I go, oops. That Philly defensive line is no joke. So, of course, I'm picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to pick Philly, but I'm going to be rooting for Philly. I ain't going to lie. I'm going to be rooting for them. I am just a Patriot hater. I don't know why. I'm sick of them. I want them to move on. But, all right, let me get to the comedian side of things that, I don't know, man. I've always liked Monique. I've never had no issues with her personally. But I tell you what bothers me is how I listened to her on Sway. If you get a chance to listen to the interview with Monique on Sway in the morning, and Sway kind of backed down to her a little bit. He didn't really confront her about some of the things she was saying, and she almost took over the interview. It didn't turn into Sway in the morning. It turned into the Monique show. She started asking like direct questions. What would you do? Do you think I'm right? That's hard because as a radio interviewer, you're supposed to be impartial. You're you're not supposed to have like I don't want to say you don't have an opinion, but you just want to get the facts out. When you got somebody like Monique coming in with controversy, you just want her to share her side of the story. Don't get me to side with your side of the story. I'm giving you a platform to tell your side of the story. Just like I'll give Tyler Perry and Oprah and Lee Daniels and now Will Packer, all these people that Monique's got issues with, and Netflix. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Monique had said that she went in and was in negotiations with Netflix about a comedy special. And we all know Netflix has been throwing out crazy numbers lately, like 20 million to Rock. And I think Chappelle got 40 million for 2 specials or something crazy. Amy Schumer got 13 million. I mean, they're just throwing out astronomical numbers at Netflix. So Monique went in, I'm sure she thought she was going to get a multi-million-dollar offer. Well, Netflix offered her $500,000, and Monique was offended by that. So she went on Instagram and asked everybody to boycott Netflix for gender and racial bias. And I just thought, you know what? That stuff happens, and it exists, no doubt. But not in this case. It really doesn't. Because Monique's trying to go off her resume of stuff she did in the past, where Netflix is all about, what are you doing now? Are you hot now? And that's all comedy's ever been. It's how many asses can you put in the seats? It's not about how funny you are. Because there's comics I didn't get. Like, I never got Margaret Cho. I didn't get it. But I never knocked her because she's got a fan base and they come out and they support. And I was like, you know, when I'd see her stand up, when I was coming up, I was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what the appeal is. But then I went, that's not my place to understand it. Somebody does, and she's selling tickets. And, you know, I hear a lot of people saying, well, Amy Schumer's not that funny. I was like, but she sells tickets. So a lot of people do think she's funny. So Monique went on this, and then she tried to compare her speaking out to the women speaking out about Harvey Weinstein and all this other things. And I was like, that's not even close. Let's not go there. And I tell you what bothered me. I was just listening, and Monique completely threw Will Packer under the bus. Now Will Packer's a friend of mine, and he's the one that put me in Think Like a Man, Think Like a Man 2, and he put me in Ride Along. So he's put me in 3 movies. No auditions. He called and he put me in them. And Monique said, Will put her in the movie Almost Christmas. I think that's what the name of it was, Almost Christmas. So Monique did Almost Christmas. And she went on Sway and said that her, Danny Glover, Gabrielle Union, and Kimberly Elise were the 4 principals in that movie. And combined, they made less than $1 million. And so my guess is they all probably made between $200,000 and $250,000 for the movie. The movie was probably shot, I'm guessing, in 5 weeks. It wasn't like special effects. It wasn't no emotional scenes. Nobody had to lose weight or do. It wasn't like Castaway where Tom Hanks had to lose 50 pounds and they had to come back and finish the rest of the movie. So I'm thinking it was 5 weeks of work, and it wasn't anything groundbreaking or dramatic. It was just a fun movie. That, hey, let's make this fun movie, make a little bit of money, and keep it moving. Everybody's happy. Well, Monique said, Will offered her the movie. Then he sat her down and said, I want to do 3 more movies with you and a TV show. And then she said, so that's why I did the movie. I wasn't going to do it, but I'm doing it because, you know, he was going to do this whole 3-picture deal and a TV show with her. Then she made a comment like, sometimes, you know, our own people were the slaves leading the other slaves to the bottom of the ship. And I was like, did she just like call Will like not a slave owner, but a slave driver, like a behind the back slave? I was just like, I was so turned off by that because I was like, yo, if we're being honest, you know, Will looked out for you. He put you in a movie when nobody else was. And everybody knew you had beef with Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey and Lee Daniels. And he still stuck his neck out and put you in a movie that did well. You know, it made $40-some million and it was a $12 million budget. And I just think in this business, we all have stories like that where we feel like we didn't get what we thought we were worth, but it was the bigger picture in all this. I'm going to get back to Monique about the precious things she talked about, but I'll give you an example from me. So 2010, I'm doing okay. I mean, my career was okay. I wasn't like moving numbers like I am now. I was like a hamster on a wheel. I was just kind of running in place. I knew what I was getting every weekend. It was decent money, but it wasn't great. I opened up for Mike Epps in Houston, and this was on a Saturday. And then I get a call from Mike's people the next week saying, hey, Mike's doing a DVD called Mike Epps Live from the Nokia. And we want to know if you want to do it. And I was like, okay, how much is it? And they said, it's $2,500. And this is on a week's notice, by the way. I said, all right, hotel and airfare? They're like, no. They go, dude, the show is set. We're just trying to add you on, and we're spread thin, and we'd love you to do it. And I was like, all right. I was like, Cole Black was doing it. And I said, is Jeff Clanigan going to be there? And they said, yeah, he's going to be there. I said, if you guys promise me that he is in the audience when I perform, I don't want him backstage mingling. I don't want him on the red carpet. I said, you promise me that he's sitting in the audience and he watches my set, I'll do it. And they're like, we promise you that. And I said, cool. Now I had to cancel. I was at the Comedy House Theater in Columbia, South Carolina that weekend. I had to cancel that weekend so I could go film Live from the Nokia with Mike Epps. Now keep in mind, Mike Epps has nothing to do with what I'm getting paid. He probably just like, Gary was cool last week. Let's see if we can get him on my special. Because we don't do that, comedians. We don't pay the other comedians. That's what the promoters do, and that's what the producers do. So I fly to LA. I mean, by the time I got my airline ticket, my hotel and everything, I mean, I didn't make any money on that special. But I knew what the bigger picture was. I knew at that time, the Shaq Comedy All-Star Series was just getting going. And I was like, I had seen the one with Kevin and Cedric and Tommy Davidson and Aries and D-Ray. And I was like, whoa, that thing looks good. And the audience looked like they was hyped. And the editing was good. And visually it was good. And I was like, yo. And then I saw another one come out. And I just couldn't get in touch with Clanigan. Like, he wasn't familiar with me at all. And I didn't have the right reps or anything at the time. So I was like, oh, this is my chance. I can get in front of Clanigan. I'm not losing money. And I'm just going to go up there, do the hottest 20 that I can do, and hopefully it resonates with him. And I went up and I just had, it was like, you have those sets when you're a stand-up that shit's about to change. I've heard stand-up say that, like, you went on stage, you went, oh shit. Like Leslie Jones will tell a story about Chris Rock was in the audience and she destroyed it. And then Chris Rock started using her and stuff. And then, what I've heard is Chris Rock made the phone call to Laura Michaels when SNL had the big backlash about not having any black women on their show. And Chris Rock was like, try to get Leslie. And Leslie came in, and the rest is history. That was probably her moment. So this was like, for me, I was like, okay. And for some reason, everybody was looking out. The 20 minutes came out perfect. Morris Chestnut was in the audience. I started talking about Boys in the Hood and Ricky getting shot. And then the Tiger Woods scandal just broke. I talked about Tiger Woods. It was the first time I ever did my black church joke on camera. It was just a perfect set. And behind the scenes was funny because we were backstage and there was like, they told us, they go, look, man, like I think 8 of us were going to film, but only like 5 or 6 of us was going to air. They go, it's our discretion as to who's going to air and who's going to not. So obviously nobody wanted to go last because they were thinking the audience might be dead and blah, blah, blah. So the guys are not arguing, but they're like, yeah, I want to go last. I want to go last. So I just went in the girl's ear and I said, I'll go last. Her name's Tamara Goins. And she was the producer at the time. I said, I'll go last. She goes, I go, I'll go last. It's fine. And everyone that called me to be on the show, they did what they said they were going to do. Clanigan was in the audience. He sat there. He saw my set. And a couple months later, they sent me to Japan, of all places. They wanted to see how I was going to do on some military bases. They didn't want to put me in the States first because they didn't know how people was going to react. And so I went to Japan. I did well in Japan. Then they put me on some shows here, periodic shows. And then for 2 years, I was on the Shaq tour. And then everything just started to happen, man. Like Think Like a Man, I got the call for that and started doing more talk show appearances and got on Arsenio and just, but I think everything stemmed from that set on Mike Epps live from the Nokia. And I felt it in my bones. I was like, oh my God, this set is going to change things. And I remember calling my wife and I was hyped up. And I just say that because now here's Monique, who, she's honest with herself, yeah, you have a lot of credits and a distinguished career that nobody can deny, but you haven't, as far as stand-up, you haven't been out there for a while. And you're in the stand-up that you did do didn't resonate like a Chappelle does. Chappelle's like Bigfoot. There's sightings of him. And then he just shows up and he destroys. And and so people know you from the movies and TV shows, but there's nobody out there just like quoting a Monique joke. Like, you're a good comedian when they just start quoting, everybody remembers Eddie Murphy when he talked about the ice cream man, or I want half Eddie, or Chris Rock tossing a salad. You remember those jokes. They resonated with people, and I have a joke that the Black church joke is the one from me that probably resonated the most with people. And I did it on Mike Epps live from the Nokia first. And I just, as far as Monique goes, I was like, dude, not even about the money. I don't care about the 500,000. Take that Netflix special and say yes and do it. Prove your numbers, and then go back and hit them the next time you do a special. But it wasn't racial and gender biased. You can't say that Netflix is, for one, you compare yourself to a white lady and two black dudes. So the race and the gender is kind of out of it, but now you're saying a black woman. And then you brought Wanda Sykes into it, saying Wanda Sykes only got 250,000. Now, Wanda probably negotiated that early before Netflix started, really breaking the bank with these specials, because that's only happened over the last 2 years. I don't know when Wanda Sykes special was. But let's be honest, there's not that many black female comedians out there. Who do you got? You got some more. You got Wanda Sykes. You got Monique. And now you got Tiffany Haddish, who's hit the scene. I mean, you got Jermelly Camachos and your Hope Floods and Cheryl Underwood and stuff. But as far as like, when you get online, do me a favor, get online, go to improv.com and just go to all the comedy clubs or go to Ticketmaster and just search venues and see how many black female comics are headlining. How many female comics are headlining? Honestly, there's just not that many. There's just not that many. It's a male-dominated business, is what comedy is. So for you to say it's gender and racial, it's a numbers game though too. There's just not that many. Look, I'm a white guy that does a lot of black rooms. There's not that many of me out there. But I also know my place when I'm comparing myself to other comedians. There's no way I'm going into Netflix thinking I'm going to walk out of there with 20 million or even 10 million. Because Amy Schumer got it or Chappelle and Rock got it. Now, you got it in your place, because what you have Chappelle and Rock. Let's just take them out of it. They're an anomaly. And then you have Kevin Hart. Let's take him out of it. His numbers are through the roof. Let's take him out of it. Then you got, I don't want to call it second tier. Then you got the top level urban comedian. You got Cat Williams, I say, is at the top. And then Mike Epps is just below him. Those two are to me, I'm just talking about ticket sales. Those two are the top two right now. Epps and Cat. I'm taking out Kevin. I'm taking out Chappelle. I'm taking out Rock. Those three are gone. They're in another stratosphere right now. they're off to the right. I'm talking about comics that tour on the road every week. So you got Cat and you got Mike. Okay. And then after that, you got a second tier, I'd call it. And I would say you got me. You got D. Ray Davis, Dion Cole to an extent, and then I would say just below that. And I don't mean this disrespectfully. I just mean when we're doing theater dates and you're doing comedy shows with a bunch of comics, D. Ray and me are usually closing, but guys that are selling tickets in comedy clubs and at theaters with us, you got Lil Duval. You got Michael Blackson, And I think you got the young guys like DC Youngfly. It's a young audience though when you're putting him on shows, very young audience. Then you got the internet, the social media people. But to be honest, like guys that are really moving tickets as far as in the urban comedy world, there's not that many of us. And I just happen to be a white guy doing it. But I would always compare myself to anybody, probably D-Ray right now, where I'm at and where he's at in his career as far as ticket sales and when we go on the road. It's me and D-Ray. And Monique, where she's at in her career, I wouldn't have compared her to Rocker Chappelle. I would have been like, Monique is like, she's there with like Bruce, Earthquake, Arnez J. All great comedians, all sell tickets, all make a lot of money on the road. But not Chappelle and Rock. Come on. That's crazy talk. I don't care how many Oscars and movies you have. That doesn't translate into ticket sales. It's all about ticket sales and what you generate and the numbers. Like I had a Showtime special last year called I Got My Associates. You can see it now on demand on Showtime. And, when I got my numbers, I was one of the top 10 specials over the last couple of years. Want to know who number one was? Tiffany Haddish. She had the number one special on Showtime over the last couple of years. And her Showtime special came out a month, maybe 5-6 weeks after Girls Trip. So of course she was just hot at the time. So if I go back to Showtime and I want to do another special, and I find out, let's say I find out Tiffany Haddish got $2 million for her next Showtime special. I know I'm not getting that because her numbers said she had more viewers than me on the last special when it premiered. So I was like, oh, okay. Even though we might go on the road and I might sell more tickets than Tiffany, or we might do a theater date and she'll go up before me. Doesn't matter to networks like that. They're just looking at numbers on their network. And Netflix has a formula that clearly works because they are changing the game as far as how entertainment is looked at. Hell, they just had an Oscar-nominated movie, Mudbound. Mary J. Blige just got nominated. That wasn't in the theaters. They are changing the entire entertainment business and how people do business. And it's like I went into Netflix and I pitched a TV show, and it didn't go through. And I remember people saying, like, when I went in, like, you got a good shot because the head of Netflix or the head of whoever I don't want to say sitcom department, whatever department I was pitching my show to, is a white guy married to a black lady. And that was like, oh, you got a good shot because my show is going to be married to a black lady. And they still didn't pick it up. Now, I didn't say it's racial or gender biased or they're against the interracial couple on their network. No, that's not it at all. I was like, it wasn't meant to be. It is what it is. Hell, I've pitched a show of different variations of my life on every network over the last 10 years. I've gone in every 2-3 years. I don't go in back-to-back years, but every 2-3 years I go in of where I'm at in my life or a different variation of my life. And I go and pitch the shows. And most of the time there's no black people in the room. Every now and then there is, but most of the time there isn't. So I got to pitch a show about me married to a black lady or dating a black lady or mixed kids. And I'm looking at them like, I don't know if they get it. I don't know if they get it. But I'm not going to get on social media and Instagram and totally go off on ABC or CBS or NBC or Fox saying, oh, it was racial. They didn't pick up my show because it was racial. No, because I'm going to go back. I'm going to pitch it again. And I just, one day, God willing, the right person will hear my pitch and somehow pick it up. You just keep it moving. There's been numerous times I didn't make the money I should have made on movies or TV shows. And I did it because I saw the bigger picture. And sometimes it worked out and sometimes it didn't. But it really bothered me when she started talking about Will Packer. Because Will Packer's done more and employed more black people and put black people in positions of power where they could hire more black people than just about anybody else in the last 7-8 years. And the fact that Monique is trying to say all these other people were racist, and then if I chimed in, I did a little spoof on her on my Instagram page and poking fun, but I was just poking fun. But people was going off on me like, white dude, you can't be talking about a black woman's plight like that. And I'm like, I'm listening to him like, you should really listen to what Monique is saying. She is dividing more black people than pulling black people together. She's the common denominator in the divisiveness. Because it ain't Will Packer. It ain't Oprah. It ain't Lee Daniels. And, I'm like, it's not those. When Monique was talking about her beef with Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, even when she told the story, and she tells the story, she's being honest about the story, but I'm still thinking, I'm siding with them, and Monique's telling the story. She said she did Precious. If you get a chance, listen to the Sway interview. It's an hour long. If you get an hour, just in your car and YouTube, pull it up. Just listen to it. She said she did Precious for $50,000. Now, Precious was an independent movie. Now, I've done independent movies, and your hope when you're doing independent movies is it sells and it goes to the theaters and it becomes like a hit. You get that, you get lucky. And that movie caught fire. But Monique was like, when the movie got bought after it went to all the festivals, she didn't get any of that money because her deal was done. She got $50,000. The person who got the deal was the investor. So whoever invested, let's say $1 million into Precious, if it sold for $10 million to Lionsgate, that investor got the $10 million. Everybody else had already been paid. And so they wanted her to go to like Cannes and Sundance and all these other film festivals. And she was like, no, I got to get paid. And they're like, nobody gets paid to go to Cannes and all this stuff. You just get flown out, put up. They take care of everything. You're not coming out of pocket for nothing. But she's like, no. I didn't get paid for Precious. I only got $50,000. So I need to make more money because I ain't got paid yet. And she said, Tyler Perry got on the phone with her and was like, yo, you don't understand. Your next movie, if you're supporting, you're going to make around $3 to $4 million. If you're the lead, $5 to $6. Go do these press junkets. And Monique was like, no, I'm staying on my ground. I need to get paid. And I was just, and this is Monique telling the story. And I'm like, oh, see, I would have been flying coach to Cannes in a middle seat if I knew that was the end, what was coming next. And Monique's argument was she didn't get paid. She didn't get paid for Precious, and other people that are at Cannes and everything, they've gotten paid because somebody said. So I asked her, like, what about those guys that make $20 million a movie? They go over to Cannes for free still. And she goes, well, Monique is like, well, they've been paid to do press. When you start making $10 million a movie, you've been paid to do press. It's like, look, we're paying you all this money. You're going to do press. But I just think it's hard to admit you're wrong sometimes. And in this case, Monique's just wrong. She's just wrong. She's just wrong. And it really bothered me when she tried to throw Will Packer on the bus. I mean, that's my friend. I'm like, I didn't want to talk about it like on Instagram because then people go, but this is why I'm so thankful I have a podcast this week because I can talk about it in the way I want to talk about it and not have to be shortened by 60 seconds or a quick drop or people chiming in saying, this is none of your business. It's my opinion. And I am in the entertainment business. I know how it works. And I'm under no false illusion that, there is a separation, there is a gap in the way people are paid. And this just wasn't one of those cases. This is just Netflix crunching numbers and said, this is what we think she could bring to Netflix. And to me, that was a fair offer. For where she's at right now in her career, 9-10 years ago when Pressure just came out, and if Netflix would have been around back then, yeah, she probably would have got more money. But right now, Netflix is like, look, we understand. Look, I've been trying to get a special on Netflix for 2 years, and I've been told no. I've been trying to get a special on Comedy Central for 10 years. Always been told no. HBO, always been told no. Now, I'm not mad at HBO. I'm not mad at Comedy Central. I'm not mad at Netflix. I just keep coming back, and I keep putting out my own specials because my last 3 specials I did myself. I just put my own money up. I got the venue. I made the set. I hired the director, the producers, the camera guys. I just hired them all. And I just did it myself. And I went out and tried to sell them. And luckily, Showtime's always been in my corner. So I could always go to Showtime and sell my special. I'm never going to tell people what I made off of it. There's nobody's business, you know? But you always want more money. That's part of negotiating. That's part of everything. It's like they're going to come in low, you come in high, and you meet somewhere. But when I get told no, it's not, I don't take offense to it, you know? It's just, it is what it is for whatever reason. I mean, I did a showcase for Comedy Central one time, and I thought it was a perfect set. And I met with the guy that was doing the specials and talked to him for like 30 minutes afterwards and seemed like a nice guy. I got along great with him. I called my manager, like, I feel good about it. And he called back and he said, yo, Gary's funny. He's good for his audience, but we don't think he's right for our audience. So, okay. I just kept it moving. I said, that's fine. That was in December. And in January, I shot my special, my last one. I got my associates. I just said, I told my manager, I said, that's it. Everybody pass. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's find a venue. We found the Stardome in Birmingham, and let's shoot my own special. And the thing about it is, when I shot my own special, now I have the ability to cut and paste it. I'm in the editing room. I'm not at the mercy of a network. I can make sure it's exactly what I want. And I made a deal with Showtime that I can cut little snippets of my special up and post them on YouTube. So I'm drawing traffic to my YouTube page. And then I realize how many people haven't seen it. And then they're like, oh, where's it at? And then I put Showtime. If you go to my YouTube page at the very top, I got my associates on demand on Showtime. And then, you know, I already got a distribution deal in place. Once the Showtime time frame runs out, because Showtime, like, they're renting it for a certain period of time. And then when that time is up, then I own it again, and then I can send it out. But we already got a distribution deal in place once the time frame is up when Showtime's done with it. And so it worked out. You know, I had to spend a lot of money. It was a stress. I would rather have not had to do it that way. But at that point, what am I going to do? Just sit around? And I tell all comics that, I'm like, man, just because all the networks say no, they ain't got nothing to do with you not having a special, especially if you're in a place where you're making a decent amount of money and you can put that money up. Put your own money up, man, and do it yourself, and then go out and shop it. And it might sell, might not, but you can always sell on the road. You can always download it, because you can go to GaryOwenDVD.com, and I got 2 specials that I shot way back in the day. I shot a special in 2001, and I shot one in 2007. That's never been released. Nobody's ever seen any of these jokes. A few of the snippets are on my YouTube page, but I still sell the DVDs on the road. DVDs. Like, I still sell DVDs on the road. Now, granted, I used to sell a bunch of DVDs. Now everybody just downloads it as Blu-ray, so the tickets, the DVD sales go down dramatically. And but I still got them. So I just like to take them on the road, and every now and then I'll sell them. You know, people be in their car, I got a DVD player, throw it in. So I'm still making money off those specials I shot in 2001 and 2007 today on the road. I'm still making money off of them. And it just helps build your fan base. And it's because one's called Breaking Out the Park and one's called Urban Legend. And I love it when people be like, yo, we done wore Breaking Out the Park out. Like, they're like, the DVD, the paint's gone on the cover. Everything is just, we just play it to death at all our parties. That just makes me feel good. But that went back to, I didn't want to sit around and just wait, you know? And I'm going to go to Netflix this year in 2018, and I hope I get a Netflix special. But if I don't, then this summer, I'm just going to do it myself again. I'm just going to do another one myself. I already got the title for it. It's called #Doing What I Do. That's going to be the title for my next special. I already know. So anyways, I'm sure if Monique hears this, she's going to be mad because she's been upset with Steve Harvey and Tony Rock and anybody else that spoke out against her. But, you know, just like you're giving your side of the story, we're allowed to give our opinions on what you're doing, Monique. I don't know. I just think she's burning way too many bridges in this business, because it all comes back. Those same people. Like, I've had issues with people in this business, and I wanted to say something, and my wife said, don't, because it could be in your head. And it was. There was a couple occasions where I was on movie sets, and I felt left out, and I felt like, I don't know what. I just, you know, you're by yourself. You're not with your family anymore. You're not with your boys on the road, and your mind starts playing tricks on you. And I had an issue, and my wife goes, they ain't doing nothing wrong. That's you, Gary. And I went, huh? And then I just had to stop. And she goes, don't do anything crazy. Don't post anything on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. And then when it was all said and done, it was all in my head, you know? And I think that's what's going on with Monique. I think she thinks all these people were against her and wanted her to work for free and all this other stuff. I said, no. That's just, they were just doing business as business is done. And honestly, Oprah, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry were looking out for you. They wanted you to get those $1 million movies next, but they said, do cans. Because I remember Monique didn't want to do the Oscar brunch and all the press for the Oscars. And I was like, what is she doing? You got to do that shit. You're off for an Oscar? And everybody knew he was going to win. It wasn't a doubt she was going to win that year. That was the most undramatic moment of the Oscars that year. Everybody knows Monique gave the best performance. Everybody knew it. And they voted accordingly. Oh, man. I don't like see people going at each other, but I don't like people acting like, with so much going on with women's equality and sexual harassment, I don't like people using that for their own personal gain. And that's what I feel like Monique's doing. And she's trying to claim, when she's saying my sisters and my brothers, and we got to stand together and we got to fight this. But you're really speaking out against all the black people. And you're dividing. And Will Packer has never said a bad word about anybody. And you spoke out against Will Packer? Come on. That guy's doing more. He's changing the game for Hollywood, making black films mainstream than anybody else. And the guy did Girls Trip. Will Packer is the reason, not the sole reason, but a big reason Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish are where they are right now. It's because of Will Packer. You're speaking out against that dude who put you in a movie when nobody was messing with you? Come on now, Monique. Come on. You got to stop that. Now, he might have said, I want to do 3 movies with you. I want to do a TV show with you. But we don't have a network. He has a production company that goes out and pitches shows to networks. So he can't make that call about, I'm doing a TV show with you. No, he can just be like, I want to pitch a TV show with you. And maybe after he worked with you, he was like, I don't want to do any more movies with her. And then now you're speaking about all this stuff that he did. I'm like, God dang, man. I don't know. I don't like seeing people divide people and then act like it's everybody else. It's not me. It's I want all black people to come together. But you're speaking out against all these powerful black people that, if you look at Oprah's track record, if you look at Will Packer's track record, that's all they do. They try to bring people together and try to help people. I don't know. That was a long rant, and I apologize, but I'm glad I got the podcast so I can talk about it openly. And I'm sure I'm going to get some backlash from a few listeners, but hopefully I made a little sense and told a thorough story. But I still like Monique, though. I don't know if she's going to like me after she hears this, but I still like her. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think she's a little misguided right now. So, all right, y'all. Well, listen. I didn't even do a crazy stepdad story. I'm not going to do it this week because we'll just talk about Precious. Just put on Precious. And that's enough. That's enough. That's enough crazy. I'll come back with a crazy stepdad story next week. I'm not even going to do one this week. We'll just throw on a clip from Precious. All right, y'all. Well, this is Gary Owen, the Get Some podcast, and I'll see y'all next week.